You know, I must really be running out of ideas on the channel if I'm having you for a third time for another deck profile. But, you know, the rules are rules. You topped this tournament, so...
Hey man, third time's the charm, right?
Yeah, so anyways, what's going on, you guys? It's RayD-TCG coming at you live from that computer store, and Guy has won yet again.
Hi, it's me.
What are you playing this time? So
This time, I played one of my favorite decks ever. I played Voiceless with another new side engine from Crossover Breakers. We played Ryu-Ge.
You are just full of surprises. First time I had you on for a deck profile, you were playing Fiendsmith Chimera Branded,
Yep.
you were playing Sword Soul,
Yep.
and now you're playing something completely different.
Yeah.
But I'm very interested to see it.
Honestly, I'm surprised this wasn't the first deck profile on the channel, but it is what it is. You caught me on a night I wasn't playing the deck.
Well,
here we are now.
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
Alright, so we'll start
starting
with
with the main deck.
Stuff. Yep, Voiceless stuff in the main deck. 2 Skull Guardian, 1 Ceravis, and 1 Pendulum Graph is the ritual lineup, plus the Mistva, which we'll get to. This is fairly standard. Sometimes people will cut this or side it and play a second Ceravis, because you don't mind opening it. But I'm really happy with this. I like keeping him in the deck sometimes to pull him out later. So only 4, because you don't really want to brick on your ritual guys, you want to search them. Then the 3 low, because she enables your Skull Guardian, she's a good normal summon, gets your engine going with the continuous back row. And then the other normal summon is the 3 Diviner. Yeah, Diviner is 1 card combo. They're both 1 card combo for your Voiceless stuff, because Diviner, once you tribute her, you summon low from deck and go from there. And the way you tribute the Diviner is you either do it with the ritual summon, or if you only start with her, you send the Trias if she resolves, and then Trias, quick effect, tribute fairies on your field. She gets bonus effects if you tribute 2 or 3, but you can just tribute 1, so if Diviner's all you got, you tribute it. As cost, summon this, which is why it's also not bad to open this, because you can surprise people with it. And low is also fairy, so you can dodge targeting protection that way if you open it. But those are the normal summons that get you there. The rest of the Voiceless cards, the 3 Saphira, some people are cutting her to 2 these days. I don't agree. You want to open her. Send the spell from deck to grave, add 1 of your rituals, any of the rituals. It does not have to be a Voiceless, so it can be Skull Guardian, it can be any of these, as long as it's a light warrior or light dragon. The spells, pre-prep for consistency, which, so okay, let's say they lance you your Saphira, you grab this, you have tribute, you ritual summon. Blessing also does it as a trigger effect when a non-ritual is summoned, so if Saphira gets stopped, you can set this up, and also if you get hit with D-Barrier, you set this up and you just play on your opponent's turn. I've done that plenty of times. And then, of course, the 3 Barrier, the 1 Radiance. This is another way you do it, because you can add stuff to hand for this, or you can shuffle a resource to summon the Old Man. Old Man triggers when your opponent does anything, float into either of these. Not this or Mistva, because they have to be summoned by their own effect. But
and I've always said this deck is really good at playing on your opponent's turn.
It is.
Unlike you know, a lot of decks can do it relatively well, but this deck I think is a cut above the rest.
it is, and that's one of the things I like about it. So now the Ryu-Ge package, I'm playing very minimal stuff. You could play more if you want to. Yeah. I'm playing 1 of each of the monsters, 1 field spell, and 1 Dino Domain.
This is what I've been looking forward to seeing the most.
I tested with the spells for the other 2. They're fine, but you don't want to open them in your hand necessarily, because they give the effects of the monsters, and if you see the monsters, they can put themselves in the location they're supposed to be in for this, but you can't activate this if you don't have these in your deck. So you could play more copies, people have done that, but at that point you're cutting some of the Voiceless engine, or you're cutting non-engine.
I think what I'm starting to see here is, so if somehow they stop your Voiceless stuff, but you happen to have the field spell in hand, what you can do is, you know, if you've already baited out all their interaction, you go for this, and then so you could play Terraforming for that reason. You can play Thrust to search it. Or what you can do if you get stopped a little bit, Skull Guardian can search Mistva, by the way. Saphira can search Mistva, and These are
Diviner...
some very high attack values. Pretty good for OTKing the opponent.
I did do that.
Yeah.
I did do that game 1 of the final round. My opponent was on Malice. He went first. He won the die roll. So he stopped a lot of the Voiceless stuff, and then he didn't realize I still had my normal summon. So I went normal Diviner, send the Arclight from the extra deck, which we'll get to, add Mistva, do the Ryu-Ge stuff. And then this makes them bigger, which doesn't matter, they're 3k anyway. So these are 3,300 guys, I cleared his board, killed him.
Yeah, that'll do it sometimes.
That'll do it. So these guys are cool, I like them. If you don't know what they do, basically, if you have them in hand, this one puts himself back in the deck to add his spell. This one discards to put him to add his spell. This one banishes to add his spell. And then while they're in hand, grave, banish, if things happen, things get destroyed, things go to the grave, things get banished, you can summon them out by their own condition. Or if you keep them in the deck, you can use the field spell to put them where they're supposed to be. And then when Mistva's on top of your extra deck, while this is up, this will summon them from those respective locations. So you can do it that way. The spell makes these two monster negate. It gives them effect as assault once per turn. So we'll talk about what you do when we get to that. 1 Veiler for space reasons, don't worry. 3 Ash. The 1 Prosby, 1 Called By, because they're good. Prosby,
Called By is Called By.
Don't care about your extra deck. Called By, insulate. 1 Talent, 3 Thrust. I tried Thrust today because I have some side targets that we'll get to. I also have 1 Purge. I wanted to buy more when it was cheaper. It's expensive now. I'll get to it eventually. Don't worry about it. And then 3 Imperm. You could also Thrust for that if you want to. You want Open It. It's a hand trap that doesn't turn on Thrust.
Yeah, I'll grab it.
And it's an actual trap.
Yeah, combo of these two, by the way, is really powerful because if you have a trap, Purge destroys. So, like I did against a Ryu-Ge player, I Impermed his starter. I think he started with Ice, and he's like, sure, whatever, keep going. And then when he went to Duo Drive to search, I went Purge, and now it destroys because there's a trap in the grave, so it doesn't have
And you do that all without turning on Thruster Talents.
Correct. So then he passed, and I won the game. Yes. These are your Diviner targets. Natis is good going second, pop stuff. Herald, grab a Ritual. You will usually not do that in Voiceless compared to most Ritual decks because your guys are 7s, and this only makes Diviner a 6 for Tribute. So you prefer to send Trius. But it's fine, and like we discussed, you can use her to grab Mistva, and then you don't care what level she is. Then the last synchro is Chaos Angel because you can make it a few different ways. Yeah. You can make it with hand trap plus one of your 7s.
My favorite synchro, like of all
synchro that
time.
doesn't technically need a tuner, but hand traps are actual tuners, and the tuner doesn't have to be light or dark. So you could like do Old Man, normal summon Ash Blossom, make this if you want to. Usually, what you'll do is low and Trius to make it banish a thing, and then if I think all of my time playing this deck, I have tributed this for a Ritual once. Usually, you just keep it. Then Pendulum Graph can float into Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon. I'm not playing Meteor Burst anymore because Tenpai is out of the format. I was playing it, it's still good, but I made space for something. And so you spell negate, you float into this, and then back to your turn, you overlay Overlord on top of it, 3k guy that attacks 3 times. So it's another way to push for lethal. Spicy. Then for the Ryu-Ge stuff, we are playing Vardras, because you get type locked after you use the field spell, so you can only summon Worm, Dinosaur, Sea Serpent, Dragon. So you can make Vardras. You can add another Omni Negate to your end board. The Vardras, cool card. Typhon as something to do when you're desperate to break a board, turn off big guys. Notably, if you play on your opponent's turn after you pass back making this, it turns off your Skull Guardian when he's big. But like they probably have to out the Typhon to play, so at that point your negates turn back on. Then the Link monsters. Anima made this against the Malice player both games, equipped his Terahertz to break the board. It was really funny. SP, helped break board. Didn't make her tonight, actually. I think that's the first time ever I haven't made her in this deck. Lina and Dark also didn't come up tonight, but they're correct to be on because there's Dark... I mean, Malice is in the format now, so there's another Dark deck. Light, play for the Mirror Match, play for Ryzeal. Half of them are light, just to steal stuff and climb up. 2 Dynamondo, really good for Ritual decks, help break board, help get your resources back.
I understand you used to have trouble resolving this, which was kind of a running gag.
It was a running gag for a while because it's if you don't have any protection, like if you don't have Pendulum Graph to negate a Called By, or you don't have Bell, going first, this is super greedy. The reason people do it going first is to try to set up more of your Voiceless back row, which is fine, but it just opens you up to so much. It opens you up to Bestials, it opens you up to Bell, it opens you up to Gamma. So I haven't liked it, but I do like it going second to help break boards. You can ask my opponent how that went. So I'm on 2 today for Prosby target, and it feels right. I've just been playing other stuff in the past that you don't have space for. And then the last extra deck card is Underworld Goddess. That's what these can help you make this. To
also one of my favorite extra deck monsters of all time.
Yep, I love it. Out annoying towers, monsters, turn off stuff. Just good if you have the body.
It's also a semi-towers in of itself.
Sort of.
Well, do you have a side deck for us?
Yeah, we'll go over the side deck real quick. Nib, normally you would main this, but since I'm playing the Ryu-Ge stuff, I thought I'll try to side it. It's not good against every deck right now anyway. But normally you main it in Voiceless even when it's not great, just because it's a high enough level light monster that you contribute if you have to. And then also relinquish Anima. You can steal the token to clear it if you have to. Played Xyz Encore. I really
love this card.
Have grown to love this card. I have traditionally played it for the Pearly players that we have at our locals, and at a bigger event, like you don't want to get sacked by it because it outs the Noir because it detaches the materials first, and then Noir becomes affected. And now I'm keeping it in because Ryziel's in the format, and Ultimate Slayer is probably better overall. You can build your extra for Ultimate Slayer. But I like Xyz Encore because it's a quick play, so you can use it on your opponent's turn to interrupt them. So like one game I did that on a Duo Drive attempt to search because Duo Drive detaches for effect. If it doesn't detach, it doesn't search. But also like if they pass back to you, you open this going second.
Yeah, and if you're going against, it's kind of like a Sprite also. If you're going against that, if you use that against Gigantic, then oh well, you don't get the special.
The main reason is it outs Detonator because one of my main concerns playing Voiceless in the new format is I really don't want to go second into Detonator because they'll pop all the continuous back row. I'm thinking of adding a Dogmatica package to help deal with that because Nadir Servant is a good board breaker. So we'll see if that happens in the future. I wanted to try the Ryu-Ge stuff tonight because it's new. Finishing up, 3 Cosmic because it's good.
It's always been good.
It's always been good. I like it with Centurion in the format. I like it for the mirror match. It's also good, like force stuff out early. Ryziel set their trap, set Plasma Hole, or Malice have their traps. They have to shotgun it, so it's less interruptions. Yep. And then Judgment for going first. I love this card to death.
Sometimes you just flip up a purple card from 2003 and win.
Exactly. I love this card. I flipped it up on the Flu player on his Rabina. He scooped on the spot.
Hey, that's all it takes against Flu.
And then my thrust target's in the side. I played Impulse, which this deck normally can't play, but I was like, well, I'm thrusting for it, so it'll never be in my hand, so the restriction won't matter, and this card is crazy. D-Barrier for Ryziel, of course, and then like if we ever had anybody randomly playing like, I don't know, Branded or like another mirror match or something come up. And then also for Ryziel, I found Mischief of the Gnomes. It's a funny card. It's probably not correct because they do have a weird line to still get to Detonator under it, but it's hard. And the thing I like about it compared to D-Barrier is it has a Banish from Grave effect to do the same thing. It reduces monsters' levels by 1 in the hand, even after they're summoned. So you flip it up on a Ryziel player, all of their guys in their hand are 3. Even after they summon them. And then you can banish it from your grave, make the guys on the field 3 if they've summoned guys from deck, or on follow-up turn, you can save it for that if you have to. It worked out the one game I played against Ryziel tonight. I won that, it worked. He bricked that game though, so it wasn't optimal, but it was funny. I flipped it on him, and he was like, pass. I was like, I see, you turn skips you, and he's like, no, I have no engine. I'm like, oh, okay. Good.
Oh,
well,
man,
what are you gonna do?
that's such a beautiful thing, man.
So that's Voiceless. I love this deck. I'm considering taking it to regionals soon. So we'll see if that
You planning on taking that to the YCS in Orlando?
It's tough. I want to get better with Malice, the new deck, but if I don't feel comfortable with Malice, I feel very comfortable with Voiceless. So we'll see which one happens.
You have any shout-outs you want to give?
I'm going to shout out West, love you buddy, miss you. I'm going to shout out Ray for having me on the channel again. I always
for the third
it.
time.
I always appreciate it. I'm happy to support you. I'm happy to be featured. We're good, man. Everybody who supports me knows who they are.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is Guy's third time being in one of my deck profiles.
It will probably be a while before you see me again. I need to stop winning.
Yeah, we'll see. Hey, the only time we won't see you on the channel is when you get tired of winning.
Exactly.
But anyways, Guy, do you want to do the honors of closing out? So
yeah, man. Always a pleasure. Everybody, pass turn.